Hello, everybody, and welcome on Into One Soccer. Today, Andy Petrillo, Oliver Platt, Gareth Wheeler with you. Gentlemen, it's been a minute since we talked about the rumor mill and Jonathan David and where he could potentially end up. So let's get right to it. Eyebrows are always raised. We pay a little bit more attention when Fabrizio Romano does put out something. And he did in the last 24 hours. He's reporting that Serie A side Napoli have actually submitted an official offer to Jonathan David for a free transfer this summer. If you haven't figured it out, I'm half Napoli dad. So, Ollie, would this be the right move for the Canadian striker?
Could be a dangerous one for you, Andy, because your status as the most famous Canadian in Naples could be under threat here from Jonathan David.
Really? Think of that.
If you thought through,
really,
if you thought through that angle of it, it's the Victor Osimhen route, Belgium to Lille to Napoli, that Jonathan David could potentially follow exactly. Look, every move would come with an element of risk. I think this would be a gamble, though. I think Napoli are not. Although they are in good position to win Serie A again this season for the second time in 3 years, it's a different type of team than the one that won it 2 years ago. They scored 77 goals that season. They've scored 57 this season with 2 games to play. It's a much more pragmatic team, as you'd expect under Antonio Conte, where a lot of the big players, including the biggest one, Kvaratskhelia, have obviously moved on the back of that success. So is it the kind of team and the kind of league where Jonathan David could really flourish as an attacking player and play his best football? I'm not sure. I think that would be a real challenge for him. The other side of the coin is, could he get better as a pro? Could he learn a lot under a coach like Antonio Conte? Could he win a lot under Antonio Conte, who has been a serial winner of league titles at least? That is absolutely possible as well. So, I think with a lot of these moves, there's kind of pros and cons to weigh up. I lean a bit more on the skeptical side of Serie A personally, but I can see the appeal of working under a coach like Conte too.
There's elements I like, and there's elements I question if this is a landing spot. The first thing that should be pointed out, that even according to Romano's comments, the last line of that tweet that he put out was, there are still key details to clarify with more talks to follow. So this seems very preliminary here. And the fact that things have been rather quiet, and now all pressure is on Jonathan David's agent to drum up interest by throwing out the name of a club that may be interested, who happens to be the top of the table side in Serie A, certainly won't hurt. But I just question how far along this may be and whether this would be the preferred landing spot for David and his camp. What I do like about Napoli, top of the table in Serie A, playing very well under Antonio Conte, play with 2 strikers up top, which I think suits the profile of Jonathan David more. And they'll be playing in the Champions League, inevitably next year, where Serie A teams, there's one of them in the finals this year, and still I think it's a league that's a little bit underrated. Atalanta's made a run in this competition, as well as the Europa League. So I do think that Serie A is underrated, and it is a league where I think that Jonathan David could end up. What makes me a little bit uneasy are some of Conte's comments as of late, questioning whether he's being backed in terms of his transfer strategy with the club, basically saying that the planning needs to align his vision, or perhaps his future at the club is in a little bit of doubt. He says he cannot live on miracles and he needs weapons to succeed, or else he doesn't want to be in a position where he and the club will be massacred. So that raises some red flags for me, because Conte there, I think it's a defined way of playing. He's a top manager. He gets the most out of his teams, but that just shows a little bit of instability. And it's a club that doesn't want to necessarily splash big cash. They actually prefer to cash in on situations when they can. So I just question maybe the direction a little bit, although I do see the positives behind this potential move.
Conte will blow up at some point. It's like it's par for the course. Yeah.
But Italians being melodramatic, I mean, they just go hand in hand.
But they're a better club with Conte at it. Look, Scott McTominay is an absolute hero, and there's only so much he can do putting a club on his shoulders.
It's been good. United could use a player like that.
Scott McTominay, no kidding. But yeah, I digress. It's been a really, really good season for Napoli. So if they can carry on playing this way, if he's part of the solution, does he play well up top with a potential, Romelu Lukaku? Is he a player that can step in to a little bit of a different type of role with the club. We'll see, but it's one that's intriguing, and things have been very
Mm-hmm.
quiet. Like I said, all pressure's on his agents to find the proper move.
I just hope that this is a dramatic ending and not like this whole drama, obviously, that we followed with Alphonso Davies, and he has to do what's right for him. But the move to Real Madrid ultimately didn't happen, stayed with Bayern. I want to see a great move with Jonathan David. We cannot have gone the last, it feels like 2-3 years that we've been talking about David making a move. It cannot end with him staying or going somewhere that feels wah, wah. I need some drama, guys. I need some drama to the ending of this Jonathan David story.
It's still like really early, and unless he wants to rush into joining someone for the Club World Cup, Napoli aren't in that competition. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to wait and see what options are out there. Like, this is a player who's 25 years old. He scored 25 goals 3 seasons in a row, and he's available for free. Like, that is going to attract the interest of a number of clubs.
But free doesn't mean that it comes without a cost. I'd love to know what the agent's fees are, contract and the kick-ons and everything. Like, it can still be a very expensive move. Again, that comes down to the agent, what they're asking and what kind of demands they're making. So the term free is a little bit misleading. Sometimes, yes, there's no transfer fee attached, but there are other ancillary fees that will certainly be part of the equation.